Hey there, fellas. As you might remember, we've done a bunch of curious experiments involving pressure. Oftentimes, things would go wrong. Explosions would occur. But we've never tried negative pressure. Or vacuum, suction in other words. And so we've got this here car and a pretty fun suggestion, which would be to try and crush a car using vacuum by sucking the air out of it. And why don't we give it a try then? Let's go. For the experiment, we of course need a high-quality vacuum pump. We don't have one, but we do have this lovely air compressor. And since it is able to pump air in, it very well can suck some air out. We do not know how much vacuum it can generate yet, what it can do for us in terms of suction. But why don't we try and find that out? The channels where the air filters used to be mounted, well, we've screwed this here fitting onto one and then the other one. Now we're going to take some polypropylene tube, a soldering iron, various connections, bends, T-pieces, put together a system. It'll be routed into a vacuum sac, which we're going to be pulling the air out of. Right, so let's put everything together, and then proceed to try the system out to see what it's capable of. If any sort of problems begin to arise, well, we're going to solve them as we go. We might need to fit some check valves, though we've yet to figure out where to mount them. But we'll talk about that a bit later. In the meantime, let's put together the system and try it out once we get it up and running. Let's get to it. We've put together our system, and we're now about to connect it to this drum to see how much vacuum it can create. Will the drum collapse or will it not? So check this out. Here's the system that we set up. The air compressor is going to be pulling the air through this tubing. We've connected the tubing to that drum. I've got my pressure gauge. We've also hooked up another air pump that we found. The gauge is reading 0. Holding onto it is a tad inconvenient, but hey. But let's see what this air compressor does for us. That was quick. Pressure has dipped below the 0. That was frightening. My, oh my. Wasn't even a lot of pressure, I mean. When I was looking at the manometer, I saw the reading go down to wasn't even -1 bar. It had to be about -0.4. But it collapsed. Now we can tightly pack these drums. This one has got those ribs, and all of them have been broken. Of course they have. I'd say we have a fighting chance. That is very good. So this compressor, we didn't do any serious modifications to it. We just removed the tube through which it generated pressure inside the canister, routed the air to the outside, and instead of the air filters, we set up our lovely system. Screwed and soldered stuff on, and that's it. It handily collapsed that drum. As for the car, we won't be able to fully seal it and make it airtight. We're going to have to put it inside a bag. Correct? Correct. We're going to pull the air out of the bag. But how well is it going to pull the air out of the bag? We sucked the air out of the drum. But what if we were to make a small bag, place the drum inside, and pull the air out of the bag? Is the drum gonna get crushed? For starters, we'll be trying this transparent material, and we have really high hopes. Hopefully it keeps it together, but yeah. Let's start by doing some trials with a metal drum. How do we stick it on? With the help of that metal bit. Seriously, a regular clamp? Okay, we've prepared the drum. Time for some testing. Turn the compressor on. Okay, things are happening. Air is being sucked out. You can clearly see it. There it goes. This is kind of unpleasant. That's it going the other way? Now the air is getting pulled in. Yeah, we're going to have to fit a check valve. To keep it from doing that, we just torture tested this material. And I was worried it would give up over here, or over here, but no. So it can withstand contact with sharper bits. No problem. It's not getting pulled into any holes. Most of the load is distributed over a large surface area. But look at how the drum collapsed. Doing that with your bare hands? Can you? Without using a sledgehammer. Well, that's a letdown. Right, so we handily collapsed the drum. And now I think we should try some car part. Like, what can we use? One idea would be to try this with a headlight. Crushing a headlight will not be easy. Here's what's interesting. The headlight is shaped in such a way as to withstand heavy loads. I mean, this one is round. There are barely any flat surfaces. Just this one. And the material. Plastic. This is carbonate. To break it, I mean, you can push it in with your finger. Not too much, though. Yeah, exactly. So now we're using the compact pump, though I do think it has more power. But then who the hell knows? Let's flip it on. And proceed to slowly suck the air out. Okay, there we go. Seems to be giving up. Yeah, probably won't go any further. So here's the situation, guys. I mentioned earlier that a headlight is made in such a way that it can withstand serious pressure. But regardless, just look at how this one was crushed. The reflective elements have been broken. And if we allow a bit of air in, look at how the shape of it is changing. And so now this is a distorted rattle with bits of reflector bouncing around inside. But as you might imagine, with these bags, the larger the surface area that it's pressing down on. Like with the drum, for example. Well, the more damage it's going to inflict. A car is a pretty large object. So here's hoping it gets properly beaten up. So yeah, let's do this to a car now. Place it into a similar bag. Flip the air compressor on and proceed to pull the air out. Let's go. So apparently we've got a lot of problems. Too many empty cavities. and a bunch of stuff poking out that might tear the bag. That's the problem. All sorts of, like, hooks, bolts, so yeah. We have to do something about it. Stuff like this. Even areas like this on the rocker where you have the reinforcement. One thing we can do about that is, we have this, cut out a piece, and stick it right here. We need to preserve the bag. You think it'll wrap around tightly from under the wheels? Of course it will. I can't imagine us having any issues. We did make a pool out of this material. Can you imagine how much load that was? My bet is that this doesn't work. What if it does? One stack says it does. Okay, so the car has been prepped, this is all looking good. We've covered glass elements such as the headlights, because you would remember how the plastic one was getting squished. So there is the risk that the glass one might break with the glass shards cutting our lovely bag, which is something we very much want to avoid. In any case, our buddies helped us out, made this wonderful piece for us, which we are now going to lay out, get the car onto, pack it, and find some way to seal and solder it. We've done some soldering with the smaller bags, learned that we're klutzes to some extent. This isn't metal, but if we got all of that to work, plus we've got some help on the way, yeah, let's pack the car up and proceed to vacuumize it. Simply put, create some negative pressure, which is just like positive pressure, but inverted. Right, let's get to it. Now, in order to prevent the film from getting wrapped on too tightly and tearing down the bottom, because there will be a pretty big space, in the middle we've left some creases, so that it sort of presses up and remains intact. Our current task would be to route in the tubing from the big compressor and the smaller one. We need to find a way to plumb everything so that the air is pulled out evenly all around. So right now we find the correct spot, and then get everything hooked up and connected. So check this out, we're looking pretty good here. We now have the car inside this bag. And somebody did step on the windshield, but hey. And we are ready, the big compressor is connected. I suggest we turn it on and, not the compressor, the pump rather. Anyway, turn it on. And if we don't have any leaks, then this should go well. If there are leaks, well, we'll fix them. The seams are pretty lengthy, so mistakes might have been made somewhere, but no big deal. We won't find out about any of that until we start the testing. So let's turn on that pump and look on, Hopefully we see an immediate effect, but let's see what happens. If it starts crushing the car, that'll be awesome, but let's get to it. I think while the air is getting sucked out, we can go have some tea with some cookies. That is a lot of volume. I know. So the process is underway. At first, the car began to squat, I was like, this is weird, but the film was pushing the wheel into the arch. There was a pop down below, and then the roof made a popping noise. We can see that the roof has caved in, and the quarter panel has also caved in somewhat. Yeah, take a look at that. But so far, the effects are minor. Even this compressor was creating a way more powerful vacuum. My guess is that the process has only just begun. The roof, hood, fender, doors are slowly caving in. The door is starting to. Rear quarter panel as well. It's continuing to put the pressure on it. At this rate, the bag might get torn, which is not desirable. But we'll see where this goes. It's crucial that the film stays intact. This is going nicely. Yeah, look at it go. This could very well be our golden ticket. Right above the windshield you've got, well, it is minor reinforcement. Most of the load is on the windshield itself. But since the windshield is broken, the next weak link gave up. The rear is going to take a bit more effort, because the rear hatch is keeping everything together. But over here, yeah, it's collapsing. Something's about to happen. On the count of 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. Look at that, it's bending the other way. Over here, you'll see that it got straightened out. And it's got a slight bend in it, yeah. It's actually caving in. I'm not going to touch anything. These are holding up well, though. The pillar is caving in. Also, this angle has collapsed. The glass is flexible, that's amazing. I also can't fathom how the glass is bending the other way. But it's obviously happening. Pillar has been bent that way. Yeah, the pillar is collapsing. That other one looks similar, but this one is quite a bit worse. This side is worse. That glass is bent harder. Oh my goodness! Both sides at once. First one, then the other. Stop walking around here and scaring me. So here's the situation. This is actually pretty sweet. After we lost the glass, now the hatch is getting bent up. This panel is supposed to be at an angle. It has been set straight. This part is bloated, the bumper got pushed in. I think the bumper is moving upwards slightly. Fuel filler door obviously pushed in, so is the quarter panel, the door. You'll recall that the doors are reinforced. And now we know where exactly. The reinforcement is very much visible. The upper portion of the door where we have the glass, A-pillar, windshield frame, all of that is broken. The rear windows are holding up well, even though they have been seriously deformed. but they're holding up. Fender has also caved in. You got the wheel sticking out, like you'd want to install some fender flares. Okay, so now I suggest we wait and see what this whole thing results in. Okay guys, so the entire day, switch it off. We were waiting to see what might happen. And though we would have really liked to see something else happen, but we had the big and the small compressor working at once, and this is pretty much all they can do. They have nothing more to give. But even given the capabilities that they got, look at this. Nobody believed this would work. But in reality, that negative pressure, or call it vacuum if you will, it's not a whole lot of vacuum. Some more and the car would have probably turned into a tiny pill. Anyway, it's not just pressure that presents a danger. Like in some of the videos that we've done where we had tires exploding and so on, vacuum, as we can plainly see, can also cause serious trouble. Now, vacuum packs for belongings or for groceries, they're a great thing. Yeah, I mean, vacuum packs for your belongings at home are a useful thing. Or for groceries. But for a car, a vacuum pack is not a great thing, as you can see. And that's the experiment, guys. Finally, we've tried something that involves vacuum or negative pressure, pulling out air. If you have any other ideas, please do share. We'll give them a try, and that's it for this video. You saw it all for yourselves, and catch you later. Do not suck the air out from your cars.